course, and we're here to present hydration techniques to prevent heat-related illnesses for wildlife fires. I'm Denan, for most of you guys I've already known for a couple years now, and that's Blair and Jeff, I guess. So yeah. Alright, so what we're going to be discussing is why the awareness is important, heat-related illnesses and symptoms, techniques for reducing severity, dehydration and its effects, and rehydration techniques. So a question for you guys, why is hydration important? Basically to reduce your heat-related illnesses and symptoms. And so what is important is to understand like the topographies and heat and everything that causes heat-related illnesses and how to prevent them. And so we're going to discuss like hydration techniques to help you guys and us not get heat-related illnesses. So we'll be talking about heat illnesses. The first like minor heat-related illness you come across is cramps, and they're involuntary muscle contractions. They're painful, decrease performance, and then heat syndrome is near lightheadedness, dizzy, and it feels like you're going to pass out. Let's do like vasodilation in your blood vessels, so that means they're expanding and you get pooling of blood in your extremities. So what happens is less blood's going to your head and your body, so that's where the lightheadedness comes from. Heat exhaustion is what a lot of people have experienced. It's a mild to moderate illness. Your performance obviously goes down, and what happens is you get a core temperature greater than 38.5 degrees Celsius and less than 40 degrees Celsius. So you get a lot of the same symptoms as heat syndrome. So you get lightheadedness, some bouts of nausea, you're tired, fatigued, cool and clammy skin, sweating profusely. A lot of people have experienced it. Taylor, you remember that? That sucks. And then heat stroke. We use the term heat stroke, or I'm stroking out a lot around here, but it's more heat exhaustion symptoms. Heat stroke is severe. It's when your core is greater than 40 degrees. And basically what you're doing is doing damage to your internal organs and your central nervous system. And what you're doing is overheating that and doing lots of damage. So a lot of the same symptoms as exhaustion. So you're feeling extremely nauseous. You can get seizures, go into a coma, pass out, and eventually leads to death. So when we use the term stroking out, what?
Keep looking at me.
Look around.
Yeah, it's not Delta anymore.
Yeah, so when you get heat stroke, you're in some trouble. So
is this like a scale of start with cramps and then you go to the next one and then the next one, or can you experience these?
You can go from right to the other as long as if your core is right up to 40 degrees.
You can go straight to exhaustion or something like that. You can experience these independently of each other.
You can get like minor, like the cramps or like a heat rash where you start to get red and it's kind of uncomfortable. So heat exhaustion to heat stroke, those are like the two that will develop into each other. So that's cool.
But if you're working on a helipad or something, you got a time limit to meet and you got adrenaline going, right? Like you might even miss the symptoms from exhaustion, and then next thing you know, you can barely stand up because you're so lightheaded. Core temperature is so high.
So yeah, and then when you're heat stroke, you're in some trouble. You've got to remove yourself from the heat, cool down, maybe even have to go to the hospital as well. So yeah, those are the heat-related illnesses that we want to try to avoid.
Alright, so I'm going to go through a few techniques to reduce severity. You guys all got your flashcards, so keep in mind. So a couple of techniques to reduce severity is you want to drink your Miller Springs bottles as much as you can. You know, have a whole bunch of them in your pack and have access to them. You're supposed to drink around 500 mils every 20 to 30 minutes because your body can absorb up to a liter or 1.2 liters every hour. So if you space it out to about every half an hour to drink a bottle, that's about as good as you're going to get. If you drink more than that at a time, it's not gonna be able to be absorbed, and it's just gonna increase your urine output, so you're just not gonna retain the water. So you can overconsume water, but it's best to be about 500 milliliters.
How detrimental is it to, like, when you're overloading on the water? I mean, you're still absorbing it, so
Yep,
you're flushing it out.
You can't really overload on water, but you have to make sure if you are drinking that much that you are either mixing in your Gatorade packets, because you don't want to really like you still want to be saturated with your electrolytes too, right?
There's such a thing called hyponatremia. It's it's common more so in like ultra endurance athletes who are performing in high heat environments. And what happens with hyponatremia is they overconsume liquids and then they excrete right throughout their urine output a lot of key minerals and electrolytes. The major one that is of concern is sodium. And when they lose too much sodium through this overhydration and sweat loss, unfortunately there is extreme cognitive, I guess it's almost fatal. I don't want to say impairments because it can be much worse than impairments. In extreme cases it can be fatal. Your brain will swell and it can result in death. But that's a very, very extreme case.
When you see the army guys out in the desert, right, you see them, it doesn't force them these guys, it doesn't count on water.
Yeah.
And they're puking back out, and not really, you see that.
Yeah.
A good thing, you doing yourself out in the desert.
And we'll get to a little bit more with like the making sure you have the electrolytes and the Gatorade and stuff on you, because if you're exercising for more than an hour, you are going to be losing so many nutrients like that. Because I think you can lose 800 milligrams of sodium per hour, basically your sweat. So.
And is there anything proven for say, water versus cold water absorbing?
Not for absorption, but just for benefits for like related to the heat. Like it's all that you guys do. So yeah. So yeah, like I said, the extended exercise in the heat, you want to anything over an hour, you're gonna want to supplement with some sort of electrolyte or something with carbs in it to give you a little bit of energy. Eating carbs or having something with your water is also going to help your absorption, so something to keep in mind. Fluids don't only help hydrate the body, they can also help cool the body as well, right? So if you're drinking in cold fluids, it's going to help lower your core temperature throughout the day, or while you're drinking it, I guess. But even drinking warm water, if it's all you've got, like if your backpack's been out in the sun all day and your bottles are 30 degrees, it still helps, because if you're ingesting that warmer water, what happens is it's going to kind of kickstart your thermal regulators. So you're going to get more of like what Denan was talking, the vasodilation, where your blood vessels are kind of dilate or getting bigger, dilating in your arms and your extremities, so that you can let off more heat from your core. Your blood's pumped in the arms, and you can get more blood to the surface area of your skin, and the heat can evaporate from there, right? So yeah, any temperature water will help. Finding shade is another way to reduce severity, and wearing loose clothing. I'm not sure if many of you guys wear layers under your Nomex. Some guys wear t-shirts and stuff, but if you can go without, get a little bit more air to your skin, it's going to help stay cool. And then, yeah. Go take a solid 5. Yeah.
Don't turn it up. Figure it out.
Couple more cards. Alright, so keep on with dehydration now. So, I guess you can't see the urine color sheet where everything, if you're seeing green, that's no good. But yeah, in the pamphlets you should have your color scale.